Condition is that as long as Ashraf Ghani is there, we are not going to talk to the Afghan government. And here I want to say that in 2019, when Pakistan persuaded Taliban to start talking to the Americans, I suggested that there should be before the presidential election, there should be an interim government so that, the elections would be inclusive. But unfortunately, the Afghan government was very critical about this remark about there being an interim setup. And they went ahead with the elections, and President Ghani got elected. Now, once President Ghani got elected and the Taliban got excluded, it was always going to be a problem from then onwards, because Ashraf Ghani insisted that the Taliban should talk to him. The Taliban did not recognize him, they didn't recognize the elections, and they would refuse to talk to him. So that's where the problem started. And that problem still is there. Now, the Afghan government is extremely critical about Pakistan. They think we have some magic powers that we will make Taliban do whatever we want to do. They don't realize that that the Taliban, the moment the Americans started drawing down their troops, and especially when they gave an exit, from then onwards our leverage on Taliban was minuscule, diminished, because the Taliban thought they had won the war. They had won the war by not losing to the Americans. And in their mind that once the Americans left, then then they had won. So to try and persuade them when the time was given for exiting Afghanistan by Americans, it became extremely difficult to try and persuade them. And Afghan government, unfortunately, is now blaming Pakistan for what is happening there. They somehow think that Pakistan has supernatural powers. We are a superpower plus, which can, which has such power that 70,000 Taliban can take on 300,000 Afghan government troops with aircrafts and with modern weapons, and somehow, we have that power to make them win. So the Afghan government, and the other reason is Afghan government, I think, right now from what I can see, they are blaming Pakistan, as well as they are now trying everything to somehow get the Americans back into Afghanistan. The whole posturing right now is that they're blaming the Americans for this debacle, Pakistan and the Americans. And they are trying to somehow persuade the Americans to actually intervene. And there are listeners in the American political system who are listening to the Taliban and using these things that women are at risk, and all those who supported the NATO troops, they are at risk, and somehow they want the Americans to again intervene. But this is, they've been there for 20 years. What will they do now which they didn't do in 20 years? So so this is the situation right now. You asked me a question about us being worried. We are worried because the direct impact of this descending into a prolonged civil war, this is what we think will happen. It will be a prolonged, protracted civil war, and the country that will be most affected after Afghanistan will be Pakistan. We will be affected, number one, that more Pashtuns are in Pakistan than in Afghanistan. Taliban is basically a Pashtun movement, so it will flow into our Pashtun areas. And it happened after 2003-4. It happened.